Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back and welcome to this edition of What's on the Menu with Dr. Danni. We are plugging away at your challenge food list. This time around, we are tackling the #1 challenge food from our survey, chocolate and sweets. Not surprising at all that this was #1, and it's got so many wonderful alternatives that we're actually giving you 2 episodes dedicated to this particular topic. So let's get started. Before we get into the kitchen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the little bell so you're notified every time we upload a new video. And comment below. It helps me make more interesting content and give you guys more of what you're looking for. So let's get started. Today, we are making some really delicious chocolate and sweet alternatives. We are going to make my guilt-free chocolate pudding. I'm going to talk about the best fast food, natural sugar craving solutions out there. And we're going to make some fantastic Bonbon energy balls. You're going to love it. For our guilt-free chocolate pudding, we only have 4 very simple ingredients. We've got about a cup to a cup and a half of dates that I have soaked and drained. You don't have to do this with fresh dates, but I bought dried dates, so you want to soak those, let them reconstitute a little bit. We've got some cacao powder, an avocado, and honey. Now, the honey is optional. The dates are very sweet. They give this a great flavor, and you really don't need any extra sweetener. However, if you want to, honey is great. You can also use raw agave or stevia or some other natural sweetener. Let's get started putting together this delicious no-guilt pudding. I'm starting out with these reconstituted dates, and I'm doing between 6 and 8 of them. Just depending on the size and of course how sweet you want them to be. Maybe you could even do a dozen or so in. So you want between 6 and 10 to 12 dates to 1 medium-sized avocado. To prep my avocado, I want to start with a good ripe avocado. So when an avocado is ripe, they're actually this nice dark color and slightly mushy. You can push it a bit with your fingers and get a good push there without it being super, I don't know, denty is the word I want to use here. You know, when you push on it, your fingerprints don't really stay, or the dent doesn't really stay, but it gives. So we're going to just slice this around the middle. And give it a twist, and that is a pretty avocado right there. That is a nice, ripe avocado. And I'm just going to remove the pit and put that aside. And then to remove the meat of this, I'm simply going to take a spoon and work my way around the outside. And so we clear that out. And I'm going to do that with both halves of the avocado. We'll be using the whole avocado for this recipe. So now that we've got everything prepped, we've got our avocados seeded and peeled, pulling the meat out of the skin, we're gonna go ahead and get our dates going and start making everything here in the food processor. So we're gonna start by just pre-chopping the dates. I've put the dates in here. We're gonna put our lid on, lock it in, and just turn it on and pulse it a couple of times to get those dates starting to break down and get nice and chewy into tiny bits. All right, so you can see here, that didn't take long at all. And we've got a nice kind of date mash going on here. So what we're gonna do is simply add our avocados in. And I'm not doing any extra chopping. As long as you've got a good ripe avocado, the food processor is gonna do all this work for you. So now that I've got those in here, I'm going to simply lock this down and turn it on and let it go till everything is mixed in. While this is mixing in, then you can look into what other optional ingredients you might want to add in. And as you can see here, it's getting very creamy. We just want to continue to scrape the edges and get everything towards the center, especially if you're using a larger food processor like this one. And we'll just let it continue to mix in until it's completely incorporated and nice and creamy. Now that we've got everything pretty smooth here, I'm just gonna pull everything off of the sides again, get it back to the center, and we're gonna go ahead and start adding our cacao powder to this now. I usually do about a tablespoon to maybe a tablespoon plus a teaspoon, or 4 teaspoons, however you wanna do that. And I do it a little bit at a time. I mostly do it to taste. So, you know, sometimes I want a richer chocolate taste in my pudding. Sometimes I'm not really feeling that chocolatey with it. So I'll just do a little bit and we'll toss that in there. And again, just turn this on and let it do its thing. And this is a smaller batch, and I have a pretty large food processor, so usually I will double this when I'm making it. But you know, with these smaller batches in my larger food processor, I do have to scrape the sides a bit more often to get everything mixed in. And maybe we'll add a little more chocolate to this. It's not really getting the chocolatey look I want it to have. We'll let that do its thing. I'm gonna add a little more chocolate in there. And I'm gonna let this go until it's completely mixed in. I went ahead and added another batch of dates and avocado and a little extra chocolate to this, so you get a little more volume going in my particular food processor. But here we are with the finished product. This is absolutely delicious. It's very filling. It has a great taste. At this point, if you wanted to add honey or agave syrup to it, I would put maybe about 1/8 of a cup maximum into this. Again, go by taste and give it another few minutes to mix in with the food processor on. But you can see this is super light and creamy. It has a great texture, a delicious taste. It's one of my favorites. And this is one of those desserts you don't have to feel guilty about. It's very healthy. Chocolate has a lot of nutrients and it's very dense in particularly in minerals that we need to help us utilize other nutrients and other minerals. So we don't have to really feel guilty about eating the right kind of chocolate. You want to go with good, healthy, raw chocolate. This is also the point where you could add your optional ingredients and give it one last thorough mix. For these delicious bite-sized energy balls, we are going to have just a few ingredients. Again, we've got some reconstituted dates. These I have soaked and drained. We're going to use about 1.25 cups of those, about a 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter, 3/4 cup of rolled oats or your oatmeal of choice, about 3 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips, 1 tablespoon to 1.5 tablespoons of chia seeds, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and about 3 tablespoons of cacao powder. We're gonna, again, mix this all together and get our hands in and get dirty playing with our food. All right, so here we are getting started on our bite-sized energy balls. These are fantastic little on-the-go snacks. You can put them in little grab bags and take them as you go. I've started out by taking our dates that we have soaked and drained and put them in the food processor and given them a little chop so they're nice and bite-sized. And we're just gonna go from here and add in the rest of the ingredients, and then we'll let the food processor do all the work. So I'm gonna add in 1/4 cup of peanut butter, ¾ cups of rolled oats, about 3 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips. And you can use regular chocolate chips for this too. I like the Drdanni dark chocolate, or sometimes I will get a good dark chocolate bar and drop this in here. I'm also going to add in then about a tablespoon of chia seeds. And if your dates are a little bit dry, you can soak these chia seeds and they'll put some extra moisture in this, but you don't want it too moist. We want this to kind of get a sandy consistency so that when we pack it together, it works like that silly sand and just stays together. All right, I'm also going to add to this then about 1/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt and about 3 tablespoons of cacao powder or cocoa powder. You can use regular chocolate baking powder if you want. I recommend, to make this as healthy as possible, you use the good quality chocolate. All right, there's our 3 tablespoons. We're going to put the lid on here and let it do its magic. We've got everything mixed together, and as you can see, this is still a little bit sticky. So you want to just pay attention to how your mixture is looking. If it's sticky like this, we're going to add some more oats to it. If it's a little too dry and it's not sticking together enough, then you want to add a little more peanut butter. All right, so here's our mixture mixed together, and you can see it's kind of grainy. It is sticking together here. So what we're going to do is just pull some of this out and roll it into little balls. And you can make these snacks as large or as small as you like. These are fantastic on the go. They last about a week to 10 days in the refrigerator. And of course you can eat them just like they are right out of the mixing bowl. I'm gonna finish rolling these up and we'll get you some shots of the finished product. Here we are with our finished Bonbon energy balls. These little guys will keep in the fridge for a little over a week, and you can do some fun stuff by, once you've gotten them rolled to this point, simply rolling them immediately into some kind of coating. Chia seeds, sesame seeds, coconut, you name it. You can just have fun with this. You can even make it a little less healthy and go for some sprinkles. But these are great. They're fast, on the go, really simple snack, great alternative to chocolate and sweets in general. Well, here we are, guys. I couldn't have a show about alternatives to sweets and chocolate without including nature's ultimate fast food sweet craving remedy. That's right, fruits. And the sky's the limit here. Go to your produce section at the store with a fresh set of eyes and really look at what's available. I have just a few options here, but the sky's the limit. There's so much out there. From kiwi fruit and grapes to peaches, plums, pears, nectarines, all sorts of apples. Of course, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. You really can't go wrong with these foods. But wait, kids, there's more. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about cravings, particularly when it comes to sugar cravings. What we often believe to be a bad thing from our body is really just a message that we have not learned to interpret properly. So when it comes to chocolate and sweets, what our body is really asking for is some extra energy. We need good carbohydrates in our diet to make sure that we're getting that energy. Those carbohydrates are converted to energy. Those carbohydrates are converted to energy by the body in order to fuel everyday function, maintenance, repair, cleansing, you name it. Every action in the body, every process in the body is fueled by carbohydrates. So we need them. The key is to make sure that you're getting good, nutrient-dense carbohydrates. So when we are craving sugars and sweets, and especially chocolate, we're actually missing something in our diet. The best way to combat that is to make sure that we're going for the natural stuff first and looking to get a rainbow of vegetables in our diet every single meal and with our snacks. So the more raw, fresh fruits and vegetables that you can get into your diet, into your eating habits, the better. And the less those cravings will come in as your body gets rebalanced. Don't forget that there is always that 80-20 rule, where if 80% of the time we are providing the body with what it needs in the right proportions, in the right combinations, in the right kind of food, then we can handle the 20% of the junk that we throw at it. So it's not bad to occasionally go have some ice cream or indulge in cake or have some candy. It's when those ratios get switched. It's when we go from eating 80% of the good stuff and just a little bit of the stuff that's not so great for us to the other way around and eating 80% of junk that devitalizes us, is devoid of nutrients and any kind of healthful benefits, that we begin to see this development of dis-ease or disorder in the body brought on by an imbalance in nutritional needs. So remember, lots and lots of rainbow colored fresh raw vegetables and fruits. And the best ones for sugar cravings are your root vegetables and your fruits. Keep in mind that chocolate is packed full of magnesium, potassium, sodium, selenium, and a ton of other fantastic, very much needed nutrients. So some of that is important as long as it is good quality, raw, healthy chocolate, then go for it. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining us on this episode of What's on the Menu with Dr. Danni. Make sure you join us for the next one as we continue this journey with chocolate and sweets and explore some other wonderful alternatives. Until then, remember, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and don't forget to play with your food.